What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. It is week 10 of fantasy hockey, and you guys know the drill. We're going to dive right into it here, but I quickly want to give a shout out to my ex account, not my ex, at Fired Up Fantasy. Follow me on there for up-to-date information. And also, if you guys want to join our Discord community, we have a lot of people in there chatting about fantasy hockey. The link is in the description. I also want to give a shout out to Fantasy Roundup. This is a cheat code for fantasy hockey, guys. It's a website where you can connect your ESPN or Yahoo Fantasy Hockey account, and you're able to schedule your waiver wire ads. This week, the Kraken and the Mammoth both have 4 games and 4 light nights. It's going to be massively beneficial to help you win your fantasy hockey week. And using this platform, you're going to be able to guarantee that you get the players that you want to stream for the entire week. That is right, guys. No more waking up at 3 a.m. to pick up the player that you want. This is going to give you a massive edge in fantasy hockey. I highly recommend it. There's more info in the comments below, including the link to their website. There's a free 7-day trial if you guys want to just check it out and see how good it is. And after that, it's $6 US per month. There's other stuff on this website as well, including stats, trends, sit and start polls, which are really cool as well. So yeah, make sure you guys check out Fantasy Roundup. It is a cheat code. With that being said, let's move on to the best schedule for this week. The teams with the most games and light nights. You look at the schedule here on the left side, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. You're going to be able to fit in players on these nights. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday are the heavy nights. The absolute best teams for streaming are the Utah Mammoth and the Seattle Kraken, both playing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. All of those being light nights. So that's going to maximize your games, maximize your fantasy points, or maximize your cats, whatever league you're in. Unfortunately, they don't have the best opponent goals against average, but still, having these players on your team for the entire week will give you a better chance at winning your matchup. After those two teams, we do have some more options here. We have 3 teams that have 4 games and 2 light nights. Those teams being the Sabres, the Red Wings, and the Wild. Not a bad option as well. These teams have a pretty decent opponent goals against average, so you might want to take a look at some of those streamers. We'll talk about it in a bit. And then we have some teams that have 3 games and 2 light nights. You might want to utilize some streaming strategies to maximize your games with these teams instead of picking them up for the entire week, but still a solid option too. These teams are the Canucks, the Flames, the Blackhawks, and the Los Angeles Kings. Lastly, I'll mention we do have 7 teams that have 4 games and 1 light night this week, which is pretty good if you have a bunch of players on these teams already on your team. And these teams are the Oilers, the Penguins, the Devils, the Lightning, the Flyers, the Canes, and the Canadians. On the flip side, the teams with the least amount of games, we do have 2 teams that only play twice this week, which is not ideal. Those teams being the Capitals and the Rangers. If you really want to win this week, you might have to drop some players from these teams. Obviously not the top tier players, but maybe a guy like Alexi Protas. That's one name that comes to mind. But yeah, having a bunch of players on these teams is going to put you at a disadvantage for this week. We also have a bunch of teams with 3 games and 0 light nights. It's okay, but it's not ideal if you have a lot of players from these teams in terms of maximizing your games. These teams are the Predators, the Jets, the Stars, the Ducks, the Isles, the Golden Knights, the Senators, the Blue Jackets, the Sharks, and the Avalanche. Now moving on to the streamers, let's talk about some streamers that you might want to take a look at from the Mammoth and the Kraken, all of them having 4 light nights this week. These players are under 95% rostered, so listen, if you're in a more shallow league and someone like Clayton Keller is available, then obviously he would be a great option, but that would be like in a 4-team league or something like that. But let's just list off these players. Let's talk about it real quick. Dylan Guenther, he's picking it up a little bit. I don't love the ice time, but still he has the ability to have massive weeks. JJ Peterka, this one is a little more available than Dylan Guenther. Peterka actually just recently got elevated to line 1 power play 1, which is big. So he's got to be one of my favorite streamers this week. If you're in a league with 10 teams or less, he might be available on the wire. Logan Cooley, this is another one. He is back on power play 1. He's in the top 6. He is always a great option. Nick Schmaltz as well. Taken off power play 1, but he is still line 1 with Clayton Keller and JJ Peterka. We'll see what they do if they decide to bring Barrett Hayden back into the lineup because he's been scratched. But Nick Schmaltz always has the ability to, put up a bunch of points in any given week. Then we have some Kraken players. Jared McCann. This is a guy who is too low rostered in my opinion. Line 1 power play 1 guy, decent peripherals. Dual eligibility. He's a solid option. Matty Benier is pure center, but he gets that ice time. Okay peripherals. Jordan Eberle gets really good ice time. These are going to be solid options to get these 4 light nights this week. Obviously, Vince Dunn is going to be a good option as well on that top power play unit. Then we kind of approach deeper league territory. Shane Wright, Okay ice time, okay production. Might have a good week, you never know. Eli Tolvanen. This is a guy that puts up elite peripheral, so it depends on your league settings. If you're in a Banners league, then he would be much higher on this list if I was ranking them, but he could be a really good option as well. Then we got some more players, sort of bottom of the barrel here. We have Chandler Stevenson, who isn't the best player, but he gets a lot of ice time here. He's on power play 1. Capo Caco, who has just returned. Not the best, but maybe he could have a good week. Mason Marchman, he is injured day-to-day right now, but when he's healthy, he gets decent ice time on the Kraken. We also have Lawson Krause. Okay ice time, good peripherals, right? It depends on your league format. We also got some more peripheral players here. 2 defensemen, Ian Cole on the Mammoth, Adam Larson on the Kraken. We have Jack McBain as well. This is a guy, if you're in a Banners league or a category league with hits, he could be a fantastic option this week. And then also Daniil Butt. He is a rookie who was called up from the AHL on the Mammoth. He's playing on the second line with Logan Cooley and Dylan Gunther. So in a deeper league, he could be worth consideration. There's obviously other options as well. Riker Evans, Michael Carcone, Dersey Schmidt, O'Brien, who has those good peripherals. So yeah, those are all the players that you might want to take a look at from these two teams. We also have streamers from the Sabres, the Red Wings, and the Wild. 4 games and 2 light nights. Lots of options here. Under 95% rostered. So, Dylan Larkin and DeBrincat might be available in like a 6-team league. Obviously, those are great options, but Lucas Raymond is on here. He's under 95% rostered. I don't really have much to say. He's a great player, a great streamer for this week. Then we have some Buffalo Sabres guys. Josh Norris. He is line 1, power play 1, playing very good since he returned from injury. Puts up good hits as well. Fantastic stream for this week. Alex Tuck, he's always good, even though, he never gets power play 1. So, still a fantastic option, but I think I would prefer Josh Norris slightly. We have Patrick Kane on here as well. He's picking it up lately. He's a top 6 power play 1 guy. We got some Minnesota players. Joel Eriksson-Ek. If your league counts hits, he would probably be higher on this list because he does have those peripherals. He's still in the top 6 and on power play 1. Matt Zuccarello, who I think is a fantastic option, playing on line with Kirill Kaprizov on power play 1 as well. Then some more Buffalo guys. Jason Zucker, underrated, under-roster, top 6 power play 1 guy, good hits. Josh Doan, this guy, even though he's on line 3, he is on power play 1, shooting the puck a lot. If he stays on power play 1, he should have a decent week. And then also Brock Faber, he has been hot as of late. He's actually seen some power play 1 time over Z Buyum. I don't expect this to last, but he could be a potential good stream for this week. Next up, we have Ryan Hartman, who is centering that first line with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. I think he's a great option. Emmett Finney, who's back on the first line, has those peripherals on Detroit. Then we got some more Buffalo guys. Zach Benson, who's line 1, but it appears he's on neither power play unit, which is a little bit puzzling. Jack Quinn, top 6 power play 2. Ryan McLeod, top 6 power play 2. Then we got some peripheral plays for defensemen, Matthias Samuelsson, Simon Edmondson, Ben Sherratt. We also got a guy who puts up a lot of hits on the Wild, Yakov Trenin. If you're in a Banners league, he would definitely be higher ranked than this. And then for the rest here, Z Buyum, if he's on power play 1, he obviously has the potential to have some good weeks, but I'm not sure if he's going to be on power play 1. You have Jacob Middleton for those peripherals, Jared Spurgeon, Bowen Byram, and Owen Power, who could put up some points because they get the good ice time. Then you have Marco Kasper, who is on the third line now, but he puts up those hits. You have Tarasenko, Marcus Johansson, Andrew Kopp. These last couple of guys are deeper league streams. Next, I want to quickly highlight some alternate streaming strategies. I just want to highlight the teams where you don't have to pick them up for the entire week. You just have to pick them up on specific days to maximize your games. Specifically, we have the Flames, the Kings, and the Red Wings. They all play Monday and Wednesday, so you don't have to pick them up for the entire week. You just have to pick them up on Monday and drop them Thursday. The same thing could be said for the Chicago Blackhawks. You just have to pick them up on Wednesday and then drop them on Saturday. They play Wednesday and Friday. So using these strategies may help you maximize your games. Moving on, let's talk about the teams with the easiest and hardest schedules. Starting off with the easiest, these are teams that are playing teams this week that let in a lot of goals. There's a good chance that players on these teams could overperform. We have the Oilers, which is always good. They just scored 9 goals. We have the Penguins, the Canucks, the Rangers, the Sabres, the Red Wings, the Devils, the Lightning, the Avalanche, the Leafs, and the St. Louis Blues. On the flip side, the hardest schedule for skaters are going to come from these teams. These are teams that are playing teams that are not letting in a lot of goals. So might be an underperformance from the players on these teams. These teams are the Panthers, the Predators, the Jets, the Stars, the Mammoth, the Canadiens, the Kraken, the Capitals, the Canes, and the Ducks. Moving on to goalies, the easiest schedule for goalies. We have the Kings, the Avalanche, the Bruins, the Sabres, the Blackhawks, the Mammoth, the Kraken, the Flames, the Stars, the Senators, and the Red Wings. All teams that are playing teams this week that don't score a lot of goals. And then for the hardest schedule, we have the Panthers, the Predators, the Jets, the Isles, the Rangers, the Oilers, the Lightning, the Sharks, the Devils, the Penguins, and the Capitals. These goalies are going to be playing teams that score a lot of goals. So there is a good chance they underperform. Real quick, before we get into the deployment updates, I want to give a shout out to Underdog. This is a daily fantasy sports platform where you can do pick'ems and best ball drafts on the NHL, NFL, and more. If you guys sign up on there using code FIREDUP and you play $5, you get $100 in bonus funds. It's available in all of Canada except Ontario. It's also available in most US states. You guys can draft teams for the night of games and compete for thousands of dollars in prizes. Those are a lot of fun. The pick'ems are great. And yeah, there's going to be more info in the comments below. All right, let's move on to some big deployment updates. We can start off with the Mammoth. Barrett Hayton has been scratched, and they've changed up this power play 1 to Peterka, Keller, Gunther, Cooley, and Sergachev. This is an awesome power play. In fact, it's had success in the last couple of games. So I'd imagine they would stick with this power play for the meantime. And that is really good news for both Peterka and Cooley, and also Sergachev, who got taken off power play 1 for a game or so last week. So yeah, pretty big news. We also have Ryan Leonard still power play 1. He was cooking. He was injured last night, though, from a hit from Jacob Trouba. So we'll see how long he misses. I doubt it's going to be very long, but he may miss a couple of games. Then with the Ducks, we've seen a couple of changes recently. They had McTavish on power play 1 over Gauthier 2 games ago. And then last night, they had Mikael Granlund on power play 1 over Gauthier. So yeah, it's hard to say what they're going to do here, but obviously not the best for Gauthier, so we'll see what happens. We also have Demidov back on power play 1. I don't know how official that is, but it appears the last 2 or 3 games that has been the case, which means Bolduc is back on power play 2. And then we have the Los Angeles Kings. They're mixing things up a bit. They finally put Brandon Clark on power play 1, but that lasted 1 game. Drew Doughty has returned, so he's back on power play 1. And then they have Kuzmenko still on there as that net front player. So they have Doughty and Kuzmenko power play 1, and then Clark, Byfield, and Perry on power play 2. With the Carolina Hurricanes, oh my gosh, Nikolai Ehlers to power play 2. I do not blame you guys for dropping Ehlers at this point. I should have known better. I tweeted this out. Yeah, Jordan Staal is on power play 1. Really smart move from Rod. They're sort of having him go on, I'm assuming, to take the faceoffs or for some other reason, and then Blake rotates in after. So Ehlers is just relegated to power play 2. Obviously, this could easily change. They could bump Ehlers back up to power play 1, but it is not good news for Ehlers that he is getting taken off this top unit. I get it. The Carolina power play has been bad, so they're trying to do something new, but yeah, definitely not good news for Ehlers in fantasy hockey. We also have with the Tampa Bay Lightning, Hedman is returning very soon. I think is probable for today's game. And Braden Point is deemed day-to-day. So those guys should be returning. And we'll have to see if when Hedman returns, is he going to be on power play 1? I don't know. Darren Radish has been really good on this top unit. And we've seen Hedman lose power play 1 in the past. Think of Mikhail Sergachev. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. If Radish stays on power play 1, that he is still a must-add defenseman. I will keep you guys updated. Then with the Rangers, Fox is out on LTIR, and in his absence, they've been running a 5-forward unit. They have Artemi Panarin running the point, and they have Will Cooley net front. This could definitely change if this power play struggles, but that's what they're doing right now. With the Florida Panthers, we actually saw Sam Bennett on power play 1 over Lundell in the last practice. Bennett took over power play 1 because Lundell got injured, but Lundell's healthy. So I'm not really sure if this is because of the injury that he suffered or they're just trying to mix things up. Not entirely sure, but this is obviously good for Sam Bennett and not good for Anton Lundell. We also have with the Jets, Perfetti has been relegated to power play 2. That means Alex Iafallo is power play 1. Not sure how long this is going to stick, but not good news for Cole Perfetti. With the Leafs, I had a different update here, but as of this morning, I just saw on Twitter that Oliver Ekman-Larsson is on power play 1 with Easton Cowan and obviously the other players that we know and love. And Matthew Nyes is on power play too. Again, this power play has been changing quite a bit because it hasn't been good. So this is subject to change, but good for OEL and not so good for Matthew Nyes. Then with the Devils, they are rotating their power play frequently. It seems like one game it's Hamilton, then it's Luke Hughes, then it's Simon Nemec. So yeah, it's not great for all three. Definitely disappointing. Then with the Sabres, we have, Norris back, so he's on the top unit, and they have kept Zucker and Doan on power play 1 with him, with Tage and Rasmus Dahlin. For the rest here, we have Landeskog still on power play 1. Nichushkin is back, so we'll see what happens there. Bednar likes to switch things up, but this is obviously still good news for Landeskog. And then with the Islanders, Maxim Shabanoff is still power play 1. And then we saw a couple of mix-ups, like Anders Lee, I should say, was the net front guy. And then I think he got injured mid-game, so they put Drouin on there. And then they kept that power play throughout practice. And then I think Drouin got injured, and then Duclair was on there. So not entirely sure what's happening there, but Shabanoff is still in power play 1, which is good for him. And then with the Sharks, Dmitry Orlov and Klingberg have been rotating power play 1. I think Timothy Liljegren also got a look on the top unit, but I wouldn't expect much from that. With the Minnesota Wild, they actually put Brock Faber on power play 1 mid-game, but I don't expect this to last. I don't see the reason to even start play Z Bouillon if he's not getting power play 1. I think Bouillon's a better power play 1 quarterback than Faber, but listen, if this sticks, then obviously Faber sees a bump to his fantasy value. We also have with the Flyers, Cam York got injured, and so did Tyson Forster, so they have Michkov, Zegras, Tippett, Konechny, and Sanheim on power play 1. Obviously, York is injured just day to day, so when he comes back, this could change, but I love this power play. I love seeing the top guys on this top unit. So, yeah, maybe it could stick. That would be good for all of these players involved. Lastly, I do want to mention that Shane Pinto actually got elevated to power play 1 over Dylan Cousins, but he just got injured. So, not the best. Cousins actually scored on the power play when Pinto was gone, so maybe Pinto won't get a look on that power play 1 once again. Moving on to some forward ads, I just want to highlight some of the players that have seen a deployment bump, specifically getting elevated to power play 1 or staying on power play 1. Some of them could be under-rostered. I know like Demidov is probably at a pretty good roster percentage clip right now, but some of these guys I think should have a higher roster percentage. JJ Peterka, if this sticks, he's going to be higher rostered for sure. Gabriel Landeskog, still on power play 1, definitely could change though. Josh Norris, I know he's been added quite a bit, but still line 1 power play 1, playing very well. Owen Tippett, getting more ice time, putting up those peripherals. If he keeps getting the ice time that he's getting, then this is very good news for him, especially in those Cats leagues. Ivan Demidov, he has been elevated to power play 1. He actually saw a season high ice time a couple of games ago. It was like 19 minutes, so that's a good sign. Ryan Leonard, still on line 3, but ice time is going up. Power play 1, performing well in this power play. I know he just got injured, but still definitely could have a second half breakout if the ice time increases. Will Cooley on power play 1, so he sees a bump to his value. Mikael Granlund could potentially be on power play 1. We saw that last game. That would obviously be beneficial for him. Triple eligibility guy. Josh Doan, still on power play 1. Very good news for him. Good ice time shooting the puck. Maxim Shabanoff, still line 1 power play 1. Very low roster percentage. Easton Cowan, still power play 1. Low roster percentage. I know the peripherals are terrible, but the power play 1 spot and also being in the top 6 is definitely valuable. Then I'll just highlight some players I think are under rostered. I think Kirill Marchenko should be higher than 92% rostered. I saw like 120 people added him a couple of days ago, and I just thought, in what leagues is Marchenko just sitting on the wire? So I thought I'd just mention that. Also, Zach Hyman, line 1 power play 1, 79% rostered. Nichushkin, I know he's not on power play 1 just yet, but he's going to get back on there at some point, and he's going to have some monster weeks, so I still think he's a good ad. Also, Adam Fantilli, line 1 with Marchenko, still power play 1. Scored like 30 even strength goals last year at such a young age, only 45% rostered, good peripherals. I know he's only a pure center, but I think we're going to see his roster percentage go up to like 70, 75% in the next couple of weeks. I think he's going to have some big weeks, guys. So Fantilli, in my opinion, is one of the most under-rostered players in fantasy hockey. We also have Matt Zuccarello. I know the peripherals aren't great, but he is still line 1 power play 1, 28% roster. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Jared McCann as well. He gets good ice time, shoots the puck. The best player on the Kraken, I would imagine. I think 29% rostered is pretty low. Jason Zucker, I mean, 10% rostered for a top 6 power play 1 guy who puts up good peripherals doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I'll just mention 3 players that could be deep league considerations. Ryan Hartman, who's line 1 with Kaprizov. Rossi is still out, so he's going to keep this spot. Alex Iafallo, he's on power play 1 over Cole Perfetti. Not sure how long that's going to last, but still. And then also Jordan Staal. I doubt this lasts, but if he is on power play 1 for a little bit, he's obviously going to see a bump to his value. Moving on to defensemen, not too many defensemen here that we have seen gain a bunch of value. I'll mention Darren Radish, but I do want to say Victor Hedman is returning today, so we'll see what happens there. But listen, Radish has been good in this power play, so he may keep it for a little bit. I mean, we saw that with Sergachev a couple of years ago, so still worth a look. I'm not telling you to drop a really good defenseman for him. Then Drew Doughty. He's healthy. He's on power play 1, 45% rostered. If he stays on power play 1 and, he's still getting the same even strength ice time that he's getting, this is too low of a roster percentage in my opinion. We also have Neil Pionk. This is a guy who just puts up really good peripherals, so he's worth a look in those category leagues. He's healthy now, could be available if somebody dropped him. We also have Hampus Lindholm. He is still power play 1 with Charlie McAvoy out, so at his roster percentage, I still think he's worth a look. And then we also have Travis Sanheim. Cam York is out day to day, so Sanheim has been elevated to the top power play unit. This could easily change in a couple of days if York returns, but could be worth a look in the short term. I also want to say one new player here, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I know he is pretty high rostered, 61% rostered, but he is on power play 1 in the Leafs practice today. So if this were to stick long term, I definitely think he should be worth a look, and he should be rostered in most leagues. Lastly, with goalie ads, we have Eric Comrie. I know he's not nearly as good as Connor Hellebuck, but he is getting the volume on this Jets team, and he's pretty widely available on Yahoo. His roster percentage isn't very high. I also want to mention Dennis Hildeby. Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolarz are injured, so they don't really have any other goalies right now, so he might be worth a look. You also have Tristan Jarry, who is playing good. I think the Penguins are vastly overperforming, but he's getting the volume and performing good, so he should be worth a look, especially in those points leagues. We also have Brandon Bussey. Kochetkov is still injured, and he's getting a decent amount of games. Not sure how much volume he's going to get, but better in a category league, I would say. And then also Carter Hart, he played 1 game and they won. He is injured though. This is more of a category play because I'm not sure he's going to see that volume. I think if anything, he'll be splitting, but Aiden Hill should be back at some point, maybe in a month, maybe less. I'm not exactly sure. So yeah, I think in a more deeper league, like a deeper category league, Hart should be looked at. Lastly, I'll mention Jesper Wallstedt. He's only 78% rostered. I think this is more of a category league play, but he is playing so good. So I think he needs to be rostered just in case he continues this play and maybe even takes over the starting position over Philip Gustafsson. So yeah, these are some goalies that you might want to take a look at. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.